there was a point before all of everyone actually knew what was going on and all this stuff that Nick was working behind the scenes with some of the defendants and an unnamed middleman, and in the process of it was working on a statement showing his guilt, and it fell apart for two reasons. First of all, not only did it admit his guilt, but it was sort of asking for concessions in the process of it that no one wanted to agree to. And then the middleman found out that Monica had hired an attorney or a law firm, and this is before Todd realized that Monica had hired a law firm, and at that point cut off all communications of this basic agreement that they were trying to come to.
Interesting.
That makes no sense, but okay.
I'm sure as hell not going to make a post about it.
Don't make a post about it. Just bookmark it.
I don't even wait.
I can't. I don't have any evidence, and I don't post without evidence.
No. I'm not telling you to post it. I'm just saying, remember that I'm saying this. Remember that I'm saying this to the people in the chat, that Vic was working on a statement about stuff.
That's fine and all. And for the record, dude, I didn't even know who Nick was. I wasn't interested in Comic Gate originally. The reason I hopped on the Nick bandwagon was because of the whole Tonka Saw shitstorm. That was just, oh my god, that was fucking gold.
Man, how many times I actually hear that people don't know who Vic are, who are actually the ones who are standing up for Vic the most, is just insane. That is just insane. How many times I actually hear that exact phrase? I didn't know who Vic was before this stuff started, and it's like,
well, it's true. I mean, his channel had about half the subs. I mean, same with Ty Beard.
So why?
He has good charisma, and he's very entertaining. I like hearing drunk people yell at midnight.
No. I understand the Rakita thing. I understand why people would watch him. I really do. I mean, I hate on him, but we're, basically like big brothers fighting each other. I don't understand why jump on the Vic bandwagon for someone that you've never met, you've never heard about, you have no idea who he is. Why jump on that bandwagon when there's so many people who are against him? And I'm not going to, and just for the sake of the conversation, I'm not going to employ guilt or innocence in any sense whatsoever. Just basically looking at the facts that we have this voice actor who has been in the industry for 20 years. He's one of the people who helped found the industry in America. And aside from like one person, no one else has actually publicly come out in his favor. No one. Even Todd, people say like, well, Todd did. Todd didn't. Todd didn't come out in his favor, not publicly. So what convinces someone who has no idea who this guy is to come out in his favor, knowing that no one else in the entire industry no one he's ever worked with for 20 years is coming out and defending him?
Well, why don't we take that question and flip it upside down and mirror it on the other side? Why are people from Poll doing the exact opposite?
Well, because
they had no idea who Vic was until this whole thing started. They probably didn't even know what Dragon Ball Z or Broly was.
You've got a point. You actually have a valid point there. There are people on both sides doing the exact same thing who have no idea what this is, and those are the people who are just in this to fight some kind of stupid culture war.
As I've said before, I'm not on either side. I just enjoy a good shit show, and oh Lord, can you guys deliver?
This is one hell of a shit show. It really is.
It's brilliant. I mean, I am thoroughly entertained. This shit is better than TV.
And I'm just going to say this because eventually, at some point down the road, many moons from now, some point down the road, this shit's all going to be, this segment of this shit's going to be done. And at that point, once that part happens, what's going to need to happen at that point is someone's going to need to actually start like calling out the cons. And the reason why is because there's so many of them who've had more of a part of this entire debacle than Monica, Jamie, or anyone else, Moz Girl, anyone else you've ever heard of, who played their role. And I made this comment on Twitter a lot. And, I know Kiwi has it, but I made this comment one time that this entire thing basically looked like a battlefield, and there's a bunch of people fighting over some kind of flag, and they didn't notice the generals on the other side already went home. And the actual purpose behind that comment was what Dick wanted to do was get back into anime and get back into actually doing conventions.
Yes,
And
that's true. But even in your first interview, you automatically assumed guilt and said that you'd be willing to help him, but only if he ducked out for a few months, then came back as a changed man. If he's truly innocent, why would he have to admit to something he never did?
Well,
I mean, we do live in a country where it is innocent until proven guilty.
Okay, wait, hold on. Innocent until proven guilty in a criminal proceeding. You guys are like, seriously. The reason this whole criminal thing keeps coming up is because you guys spend
tortious
way too much.
Interference.
You guys yeah, but that's not criminal. It's civil. It's civil. You guys spend way too much into what actually happened, into what actually Vic has done. That's the problem.
That is fair. You got me on that.
But this is not a court of law, though. This is basically two production studios and some conventions that decided to drop him. There's nothing criminal about this, per se.
Regardless, if he didn't commit the crime, why should he have to apologize for it? That's almost as fucked up as...
I am technically, according to some video, I am the leader of Kick Vic, and I am fucking telling you that...
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Okay, well, Mars Girl, let's get Mars Girl in here, and maybe Mars Girl's going to disagree with me, so let's not get her in here. Vic has not committed the crimes that people say he committed. Vic has done things that, based on Texas law, might be considered simple assault. It doesn't mean it's okay. It just means he's not the criminal that everyone is making him out to be. It is so fucking mundane. It's fucking sexual harassment. It is so fucking simple. And this entire thing is this blown up ordeal over something that is so fucking mundane.
I'm probably going to get kicked for what I'm about to say. But during your interview with Nick, you admitted that there were things you did in previous conventions that were inappropriate, and especially inappropriate in today's environment. And there are accusations of you mistreating women on Kiwi farms. Whether or not that part is true is irrelevant, but the statement you made while on Nick's show is your own words.
All right, so I'm going to answer both those questions, and you guys have been asking me on Kiwi Farms to answer both those questions forever. So I'm going to answer both of them right now for you. You can record this, write it down, and go put it on Kiwi Farms.
I'm too lazy to record it. I'll remember.
Right, well, you can remember right now. All right, so the first one. The first one was about shit that I've done. And I made the statement that and I had cons bitching me out about saying this, but there were things that people did back in the day that were not okay then, and that were okay then, but not okay now. So basically the gist of that is that there was a different time back 10, 15, 20 years ago. And when I make this statement that I'm getting ready to make, you're going to paint me as a far right-wing type person, and I'm not. But this is the best argument that the far right-wing needs. 20 years ago, everything was a different culture. 20 years ago, when we went to cons, you could go to a con, and every single person that you saw that you knew, you'd go up and give them a hug. You could give people kisses on the cheeks. Even people you only saw once a year. There was this friendly atmosphere about conventions in general back then. Everyone drank, everyone had fun. Everyone, I don't want to say everyone because eventually someone's going to misinterpret that, but a lot of people 20 years ago were very touchy-feely because that's just the way things were. And that was me. That was a lot of people. That was big. there was a lot of people like that. We drank, we had fun, we partied, and everyone was friendly. So since then, what has happened is over the course of the last 20 years, things have started changing.
So
And
you admit that you and Vic have been doing the same things that he's been crucified for.
no, no, we haven't done the same things. It's just that I'm not trying to say I've done the same things as Vic, because I haven't. What I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to give you perspective for what Vic has done.
I'm 43 years old. I'm well aware of how it
Okay.
used to be.
Yeah, so all I'm trying to do is, because there's a lot of people who don't understand that Vic is 43 years old. Well, he's 56. They don't understand that. And all I'm trying to do, yeah, so all I'm trying to do is give perspective that what Vic has done and what's being portrayed are two different things. Vic came from an age where we were always more friendly. Now, has Vic gone over the line a little bit? Maybe. You know what? That's what this is all about. Has Vic gone over that line a little bit? You know, was that the line 20 years ago? I don't know. You know, I've never been in the situation that Vic has been in, but I've also never been as famous as Vic has been. You know, like I don't have to worry about the stuff that Vic has to worry about. You know, because everyone I've hung out with, you know, back in my day when I was like, you know, getting drunk at cons and like being an ass and shit like that.
But
Wow,
if
great
both of
fucking
you,
story, Shane. Tell us more.
Hey,
shut up,
buddy,
dude.
shut up.
But if you and Nick have essentially done the same thing and you've been spared punishment and he hasn't, is his only crime being famous and well known?
Um,
I mean, I'm really surprised because for someone who seems so interested in social justice and political correctness, correct me if I'm wrong, of course, it's kind of an odd point for you to take when you've done the exact same things.
well, I haven't done the exact. There's some things that Vic has done I haven't done. You know, but it's not.
What is that though?
So let me go over like some of the accusations, and let me go over some of the accusations, and let's start there. Okay. So one of the accusations is that, and it's happened from like quite a few people based on numerous accounts, is there's the hair pulling thing. So there's this thing where Vic apparently goes out, grabs girls by the hair, back of the head, grabs their hair, and like is semi-sexual in his language. That is, in an extent, I mean, the way that I always look at it, and the first time that ever was like phrased to me and it was told to me, I thought about it and I thought about like days at like goth clubs and stuff like that, like 20 years ago. And I'm like, okay, well, I've seen that at goth clubs. Like that shit happens all the time at goth clubs. You know, is Vic just really bad? You know,
Well, phones
is
have
that what
been-
it is?
Phones and cameras have been everywhere since 2011. Everyone's had a cell. Everyone's had a mobile. If he's been doing
Well,
this stuff,
hold on. So let's pause this conversation. Somebody put a pin in this conversation right this second, and let me address something here real quick.
okay.
And I'm going to address what you just said, and someone remember for us to go back and exactly what we were just talking about. Let me address this thing right here, because I've been doing cons for at least 20 years now. I've been running cons, and I've owned cons for many years at this point. These guests are not under 24/7 video surveillance. No one is. And I've been hearing this shit for months now, that as soon as you walk into a hotel or a convention center, that you're automatically on camera. That's not true. None of these guests are on 24/7 video surveillance. And the proof of that is like, you can look at KamehaCon. I mean, KamehaCon, he was on his own floor, surrounded by his own guests, his own attendees, and his own fans. And at this point, to this day, no one can come up with more than an hour of video surveillance of him. There's not more than an hour out of the entire weekend that he was there. These guests are not under video surveillance. Like, it seems that way, but these guys go to their hotel rooms and they have parties. They go to a green room that attendees aren't allowed in. They go lots of places that attendees can't go. And even in the convention center itself, or even hotels themselves, like cameras are not pointed in every single direction. The reason why most conventions have security staff that walk the dealer's room, and it's because those security staff are actually trained to look out for people shoplifting because there's no cameras that are watching 24/7. I've had incidents with police where we've actually had to have police on site at certain cons, and there's something that we knew that happened, and the police knew that something happened, and people have been arrested, and the first thing they did isn't go look at video cameras. It's they talked to the people who were there and who saw what happened. These guys are not under 24/7 video surveillance, and I understand cameras are everywhere, that people generally are not themselves around cameras. And I've said this before, and I will say it a million times. Guests are not the people that they portray themselves to be. They are always friendly. Some of them are the sweetest people in the world. But you have to understand that these are a bunch of people who get up and they go to work and they do a job. And then they go to a convention and they have to smile for you 24/7. I have seen guests like get up in the morning, like at a convention or even in my personal life, I've seen guests that get up in the morning and they have got like fucking these horrible colds and these horrible migraines and they feel like shit and they spend the entire morning hating life and everything in it. And the minute they get behind that table, they are nothing but smiles and sweetness and like this persona that they have to portray once they get behind the table because people forget.
I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. I don't know if anyone's ever like walked into like a green room with all the voice actors. It is miserable.
Slightly off topic, but I would like to point out Nick is streaming.
Yeah, I'm sort of listening. I don't really care about this stream.
So it's the thing is that people assume that these guests are always being watched, and they're not. But they also, for some reason, think that guests are always the person they see behind the table, and they're not. They're real people. They make their own mistakes. They like to go out and party and like have fun.